REO Speedwagon, keep the fire burning here on the Q96.5 FM. And as advertised, I have Tim Meister on the telephone with me. Good morning, Tim.
Morning, Jim.
How you doing?
Hey, awesome. How are you guys?
You know what? I'm doing about as well as anybody can be after, 2.5 months worth of quarantine?
A whole bunch. I know that. I've lost track
Yeah.
of months, days, hours. It's like if I told someone this is the longest March I've ever lived through.
Man, it seems that way, doesn't it, huh?
It does. It really does.
It's been a nightmare, but again, I think we're starting to see things work its way through. I think we're starting to see things come out on the other end right now. How's everything in Fort County?
Good. A very, very busy week for us. This is the last week of classes, so we have our teachers who, by the way, have just done a phenomenal job. They're making phone calls, emails, we're trying to track down assignments, trying to get teachers and everybody else to get their things in because, on Friday, the year ends, grades got to be finalized. So we're really trying to work towards that end right now of just trying to get things tied up. Typically, when you're in person, you have the kids right in front of you. It's a whole lot easier than trying to do it remotely. So there's been some challenges as well.
Oh, I bet so. But all of us have had those challenges over the course of the last 2 months, and I think we're all ready for this to maybe start to ease up a little bit. And let's cross fingers, man. Let's hope 2021, the school year, is not quite like this one.
Yeah, Jim, I'm right with you on that. I don't want to live through this again. It's been hard on everybody. No matter what your business is, we've all had to make adjustments. But I think all of us would like to see a sense of normalcy return.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, there's no doubt about that. Do you feel like the last couple of months, though, have been good? Have the kids and the students been able to get out of the last couple of months what you'd hope they would get or not?
That's a really hard question to answer because I think if you ask different schools, Jim, they'll give you different answers. Us being a very hands-on school, obviously, we had some very unique challenges in trying to deliver education in a whole different method than what we want to or used to. But I would answer the question this way in general. For the situation we were placed in, for teachers having to teach career tech remotely, for having to try to give kids a quality education, hold them accountable, I think we've done about as well as we can do under the circumstances. None of us had any preparation for this, so we were all trying to learn on the fly. You and I are on Zoom right now. Before this, I didn't know what Zoom was. I did. I thought it was something a car did when it went by it,
Yep.
So when you're trying to condense your education very quickly and learn new manners in which to do it, I don't think I can ask more of my staff or my kids. I think we did about as well as we could. Now, in saying that, was it the same quality of education they would have gotten one-on-one, face-to-face? I don't think so, but I don't think that could be expected either.
No, it can't be. And you know what? If they learn nothing else and they take nothing else out of this time, you are going to, if you were right now 17 years of age, and then you're going to end up being my age one of these days, which is going to take you almost 50 years down the road, you're going to see a couple of these bumps, and you better be ready for them.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Jim, because one of the things that our staff learned very quickly, adapted to very quickly, is that some of the things that you teach your kids aren't found in a textbook and they're not curriculum driven. So our teachers had a lot of conversations with our students about handling adversity, how when things don't go exactly how they're planned, how you have to adapt, how some things online are really harder, but that's life too. There's some things you have to do that are hard that you're not comfortable with, but you have to find a way to make it work. So we've done an awful lot of that type of education along with the typical content and curriculum stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, you don't have to really worry about graduation because they're not going to graduate out of Fort County Career Center. Right. But boy, what a nightmare the local schools have had to try to figure out a way to get these folks to walk across some sort of stage and get their diplomas.
Yeah, we have Recognition Day, which is kind of like our graduation. And it's funny you asked that question today because tonight at 7 o'clock, we are doing our Recognition Day virtually. So
okay.
At 7 o'clock, the video is released. We brought in every staff member in our labs that had our kids. They all video them. Every single kid's going to have their picture and name on there. So we want to make sure those seniors do get recognized in the appropriate way. We've done, the radio ads. We've done billboards in all the counties. We've given kids yard signs. We've tried to make it so this senior class certainly doesn't feel cheated. In saying that, hardest decision I've made was having to go this Recognition Day virtually. because every parent, every kid, I don't care if it's at Fort County or pick a school, they want to walk across that stage. So our challenges were a little different than the K through 12 because we have 2,200 people at our recognition day. 450 kids, parents, grandparents. There was just no way for us to do any type of drive up or any other way to do it virtually. So that was the challenge we had. And the schools, the K through 12 schools, they were darned if you do, darned if you don't. Everybody thought they should do it one way. Everybody thought they should do it another way. Again, we didn't get a whole lot of clear guidance from the governor, ODE. So our Fort County superintendents, so they did a tremendous job of working their way through it, at least coming up with unique ways to honor our kids. And I think that's the best we can do under these circumstances.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. That has to be, I don't think the average person cannot understand when it comes to the difficulty and the challenges that a superintendent of schools, no matter what school that might be, would be, the governor of the state of Ohio or his medical staff. Again, you've got to make choices that are one-time choices. You've never done them before. There's a health contingent to this whole thing where if you make the wrong decision as a governor, you may have 1 million people dead in the state of Ohio. You never can tell, okay? If you make a mistake with the way that you deal with your recognition night or the graduation that we have, you may have thousands of people that get infected all of a sudden that shouldn't have gotten infected. And now you got to sit down and work all that out. And you also have to make sure that all the folks on the other side are happy with the way that they want things done. What a job.
Jim, interesting. I hearken back a lot to my coaching days when I had to make this decision. And it comes down to this. When you're a leader in any situation, especially of a group of people, and you have an emotional situation, and in coaching it was whether a kid played so many minutes or if you won or lost. Here it's graduation. Whatever decision you're going to make, not everybody's going to like it. And you better be comfortable making that decision and sleeping at night, knowing that you are not going to be well liked by a certain sect of people over your decision, no matter if you think you made the best decision in the world.
Yeah.
And you got to have some thick skin. And so at the end of the day, when we had all these conversations, it comes down to, it hit my desk, and now I got to make the decision on my board of education. I made the decision, and we stuck with it. We stayed with it, Jim, because it is an emotional situation. Especially maybe it's your first child, and now they're not going to have that traditional graduation. Maybe it's your last child.
Yeah.
We still have some kids that they're the first person in their family to graduate high school. So when you have emotions tied to a decision, you would be remiss if you didn't understand that some people are not going to be happy. And I want to clarify this. They have that right to be unhappy with you because for them, it is extremely important. But you still have to make the decision that's best for the whole. And then you got to go to bed at night and just put it to rest and say, this is the decision we made. So yeah, it's been difficult for every superintendent. I get people aren't happy with all the decisions made in this time. Completely respect that. But like you said, I hope they understand that we're not making a decision based on one situation or one kid. We're making a decision based for thousands.
Yeah, boy, that's for sure. And I'll tell you what, if you put that decision on their shoulders, okay, they would finally realize the magnitude of that job.
Yeah, we're lucky. I've not had one negative comment from our parents or kids about doing ceremony virtually. I know talking to other superintendents, some of them have had some negative comments. So knock on wood, Jim, our people have been really good and very understanding. And so I just hope the virtual goes well tonight. It's going to be about 50 minutes long. We put in a whole lot of time into producing it and making it quality. But again, we really want to do something for this senior class. I don't want them to feel cheated.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you. All right, now, tomorrow starts a whole new challenge for you guys because now you're going to start looking at next year, I would think. I don't think you get much rest after tonight. And it's got to be pretty difficult making some decisions without some clarity.
Yeah, I think you and I talked about this before, or maybe not, because I've told so many people when they ask me the question, because everybody wants to know what's going to happen next year. And I told them, I don't know, and if anybody, including the governor, tells you that they do know, they're lying because they don't. So we have administratively, staff and students, we have maintained this attitude to the whole thing, and we're going to do it till we're out of school, and that is, I'm not worried about August, I'm worried about tomorrow. Let's get to tomorrow. And then when tomorrow happens on Friday and everybody's out and done, now we can sit back and reevaluate how we're going to start. And I think we've done a little bit of disservice politically, educationally, everybody involved who's trying to throw out all these ideas for next year, because you're taking away from the energy you should be spending on solving today's issues. And not saying we don't have to pre-plan, but what's going to happen 2 weeks from now? What's going to happen a month from now? So if we're spending all these hours with this plan that we're supposedly coming up with, and then 4 weeks from now, we open up everything because the cases have really subsided. Now we got to go back and replan what was already planned originally, or do we go back to the original of the original of the original? Or so, and I'm not trying to be critical, Jim. I'm just saying our philosophy is we're going to get to tomorrow. Next year will take care of itself. No matter what we do, we'll adjust. But I want our energy focused on today and helping our kids right now in the present.
Yeah. That might be one thing that we can take out of this, is that we do live a little more in the day, and we take each other maybe a little more seriously and with a little more compassion, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Jim. I do think there's some silver linings out of this. We've been forced to live where our feet are.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is gotten lost with cell phones and other social media. We're always trying to talk to someone while we're talking to someone else. We're texting while we're driving. We're not supposed to. Let's face it. We're talking on the cell phone. We're in a meeting. We're answering emails. I'm guilty of that as anybody else. This has made me live where my feet are at. I think it's been a good thing.
Yeah. Well, what an interesting thing. I don't think either one of us want to go through it again.
No. That was silver lining, Jim. I didn't say it was a gold mine, all right?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'll tell you what, to all of the folks who have suffered through this whole thing, no matter what level you're at, no matter what job you're doing right now, I think everybody right now needs to take a big, deep breath and get a big hug from somebody, because it has been a rough couple months.
Yeah, it has. And, especially our people in the medical field. I mean, those people are amazing. We're dealing with this every day, putting their lives at risk. Sometimes we talk amongst our admin team as well here. We need to stop and understand what we do is not life and death. So when we get frustrated or upset, we got to step back and say, how about the doctors who are seeing these people walk in their office every single day? How about the people in emergency rooms? We really don't have problems. We have our issues that need to be solved. We really don't have problems. Yeah,
boy, that is for sure. I agree 100%. There's no doubt about that. It's an amazing time. It's an amazing situation for all of us here right now, and we're all getting through it, and that's the good news. Before I let you go, because I know you've got a busy day, and I've already heard the dings in the background. You've already got people that are wondering where Tim Meister is right now.
Well, like I said, I'm where my feet are at, Jim. I haven't answered any of them.
Exactly. Well, let's talk one more thing, and let's get it totally off subject at this point in time. Where are we going with sports in the United States for the next several months? Any feel for that one?
Well, I think what you're seeing with the UFC fight and with the NASCAR race with no people and the golf match that had no fans, I think that's how it's going to start. I think they're going to try to do things and maintain the guidelines of the social distancing and that. I think that's how they're going to start. And then I can I can see them slowly maybe reintroducing a small number of fans, identifying the sections they had to sit in. I think it would be good for everybody. I harken back to, remember 9/11 and baseball had to decide whether they were going to come back and play again.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, everybody agrees that when baseball came back under way different circumstances and way different guidelines for us to get into games and watch it, it was good because it gave you a sense of normalcy. And I think the same thing here. I don't think NBA will play again until next year. I think they're done. I think baseball will come back sometime in mid-July under some different circumstances. And I think you're just going to see the non-fan participation. What I'm really curious about, and I'm not kidding when I say this, I think what's going to drive an awful lot of decisions is what happens with college football, because it is $1 billion industry. It's worth more than any sport in the United States, any sport in the world. College football drives the most money. So how are they going to handle this situation? Boy, I am just so fascinated to see what they're going to do, because can they realistically bring 104,000 people and sit them in Ohio Stadium in September?
Yeah. It's a darn good question. I can tell you the MIAA has already, all their commissioners and all have come out and said they intend to do a full fall schedule of sports on a D3 level. And, obviously on D3, an awful lot of those people in your school are there to play whatever that sport might be, even though they're not on scholarship.
I know two major universities in Ohio, Toledo and Kent State, have both announced their plans to be back full in session in the fall.
Yeah.
Found that very interesting that they're going to go ahead and roll this out. So I assume their sports will go too. Another interesting thing, Jim, is how many people will go to the games.
Yeah.
If the virus concern is still out there, how many people are actually going to buy tickets and walk into that stadium without knowing that everybody in that stadium has been thoroughly checked and tested, which cannot happen logistically.
Sure.
So that's a whole nother side of that story of where's the revenue going to come from if you have people not willing to go into games because of health concerns.
Yeah, it is going to be an interesting next 60 days to see how this all falls out. There's no doubt.
And I think there's already some anticipation, Jim, of not going well. I'm sure you saw where both Akron and Bowling Green disbanded their baseball program.
Yes.
Could not believe it. Could not believe it.
Yeah.
Both those schools have had some really good baseball teams and baseball players. So that to me is also a sign that there's some trepidation amongst college athletic directors that their revenues are going to get hit hard.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. It's going to be a whole different world when it all gets opened up and gets spinning in the right direction again.
Yes, it will.
We just don't understand where it's going to be right now, but we'll find out in the next 90 days or so.
Yeah. I think the next 30 days will hold a lot as well.
Yeah, you're probably right. Tim, I will let you get back to everything. Good luck with the virtual recognition program tonight.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Again, that's 7 o'clock, and people can watch it by going to our website. And their video at 7 o'clock, that video is going to pop up. You can hit play, and it's going to roll. So,
it is truly amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I hope people watch it because, like I said, I want to go back, and if I could just end it with saying something about our seniors I feel bad for them. This is hard. This is hard for them. But I've also told many of them, and I mentioned it tonight in the video too, I said the last class you look at that got something taken away from their senior year, maybe they couldn't finish school or they got pulled out of school or something was amiss to this magnitude, was probably World War II. Yeah. Because you had kids that got drafted out of high school. You got kids who didn't finish high school because they were 18 and got drafted into high school. Some of those kids never came back. And so I've told them it's interesting because we now talk about that group of people as the greatest generation. So I'm hoping our kids take that to heart, and they kind of take this moment and say, I'm not going to let the moment define me. I'm going to define the moment because they're really good kids and they're really bright. So I just think they deserve that mention. Yeah.
And you know what? Let me add one more thing to that because we need them to be the next greatest generation because we have so many problems right now that these young guys are going to and ladies are going to have to deal with over the course of their lifetime.
Yeah, they do. And you hope that this preparation, them having to live through it, again, the silver lining is they can handle anything now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Tim Meister, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jim.
Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Tim Meister has been our guest here on the Q in our program this morning. Now back into Classic Hits, the Q 96.5 FM.